Good morning and welcome to Meir and Rich's show. Today we're going to be speaking about social media scams. It's think before you click, but this doesn't only apply to emails that you get. This is prevalent on social media too. Think about all the people that you've read about that are either famous politicians, celebrities, actors, musicians that have gotten their information hijacked on social media. Think about what that does to their reputation. Think about the fake news that can be spread and frankly has been spread. All someone needs to do is get into your account and they can make you believe anything from cryptocurrency is bankrupt to the world's coming to an end. And this has impacted pretty much celebrities and politicians across the board. So, why it matters? As always, if you don't take proper precautions, you will be compromised. And think of what that could do to you. So, a couple of the common vectors that we come across all the time: account takeovers. Now, I work with a lot of attorneys that are high profile attorneys that work in the privacy area. I found one of them one time and his account was compromised. There was all kinds of stuff being attributed to him that was posted that was not him, because I know the people I work with, if things are out of character for them, it probably means they've been compromised. I alerted him. I don't think too much damage was done because we regularly follow each other and communicate with each other. So it may have only been compromised for a few hours. But what if I wasn't alert? What if he never picked it up? Think what could have happened to not only him, but his firm. A major issue today. And this is happening all the time today because the criminals are more intent than we are. They're smarter than we are. And they don't have to be successful all the time. We have to be right 100% of the time. The old ivory soap thing, 99.44% pure, that's not going to cut it today. We have to be right 100% of the time. And they only need to be right one time in 1,000 or a million because they're spreading their messages, their malware, and everything. And all they need is one person to do something out of the million people they attack every single day. So, what should you do? Well, number one, which we always recommend, strong passwords for those that still use passwords, and multi-factor authentication. It could be something as simple as scanning your retina, your fingerprint, a little thing that you plug into your device. Now, I use that when I travel. And if I'm logging into something and my phone may not be working, I just put that into the machine and boom, I press it and that identifies it as me. I don't want people posting nonsense attributable to me because someone may not pick it up that they actually impacted me. Scary stuff, but our mission here is to alert you, the audience, to what can happen to you and what probably has happened that you may not even be aware of. A couple of other things that commonly go on, and we've probably all gotten these friend requests. Actually, both Meir and I got the same friend request from a person, and you look at it, and they look at your profile and they say, "You have such a great profile. I got one the other day. My resume is so wonderful." You know what? My resume is not on my LinkedIn profile. I'm sorry. And if you ever make the mistake to click accept, you will get bombarded with constant messaging. I don't know about you. I don't have time to look at silly messages all the time. So what can they do? Well, they clone your profile. Not very difficult. I'm not smart enough to know how to do that, but it can't be very difficult. As I mentioned, friend requests. When you're posting all the time on social media, you're going to get some real people and you're going to get a lot of fake people out there. Before I will ever accept a friend, I'm going to do my due diligence. I'm going to check them out as much as I can. If they say they work for a high profile company, I'm going to call the company. I'm going to say, "You have this person working for you." Now, I just got one the other day, and it turned out to be legitimate. And I only knew about it because after I got what I thought was a fake phone call, he had a friend request to me on LinkedIn. and I checked him out, and he actually did work for ADP. Meir, would you like to speak about some of the things that you've come across in this area?
Yeah, they are getting more clever, trying to do bad things to us. I've had on LinkedIn people, like you said, getting into you on messages, praising you, wanting to talk with you, ask you just a few questions, but they seem very suspicious. And one thing to look out for is urgency. Like if they're trying to get you off platform and onto a different platform, why are they trying so hard to switch you to another platform? Like say they've been asking me to go on to WhatsApp. And I tell them, I'm perfectly fine chatting right here. Ask me your questions. And they usually move on to the next person because their goal is to move me off to WhatsApp, and I don't know what happens next, but I don't go in for that. And then
And
on Facebook, a lot of profile clones going on. I had a friend this week who says new friend request, and I was like, I'm already your friend. So I look into it, and it said 10 mutual friends. So I was like, okay, that makes you think this is legit because you have mutual friends, but really those are mutual friends who fell for the trap already. Because if you look into it further, the only thing common about this profile is they stole the profile picture and the name, maybe a few contact items like where you're from, but they're trying to duplicate your friend and get all their friends. So, I always recommend don't show your friend list as public. Change those privacy settings. Make your friends list private, and be careful what information you put out there visible.
Meir, would you like to go a little bit more into the privacy settings on whether it's LinkedIn? I'm no longer on Twitter or Meta, so I can't comment on those either. But I know there are a lot of things in those settings that you probably should at least consider tweaking.
Yeah, there's a lot. I don't have them off top of my head. I know Facebook's revamped their privacy settings. They have a really good walkthrough that it'll take you through one by one all the different things that you can make public or private or just show to your friends. They do a pretty good job there. It's just we don't think to check that every so often and see what our settings actually are.
And think about the problems that you can have with that, as Meir was certainly speaking about. Sharing all your contacts out there. Now, some people do that, some people don't. Some people only share their post with first contacts, maybe some second contacts, but you have to be very, very careful with who you're sharing and what you're sharing with who.
It's
It's
unfortunate world that we have to be suspicious of people first, but we have to be safe. Better safe than sorry, right? I had a friend request from somebody who I hadn't seen in over 20 years. So I wasn't sure if this was really them or not. So instead of just accepting the request, I asked them questions that I didn't think someone would know otherwise. I said, what grade did we meet in? We were in band together. What instrument did we each play? And then it turned out that was the guy I knew.
but it brings up a good point. Part of the things we speak about all the time in terms of cyber hygiene is verifying things. It's so easy to be caught up today in things. And once your identity has been compromised, it is not so easy to get it back. People spend their lives trying to get it back. And there are things that you could certainly do to make things less onerous for you. There are certainly some policies that you can purchase. There are certainly some steps that you can certainly take to protect yourself. I mean, I for one, I don't have everything live out there. I have a lot of things blocked. I don't want my information going out there. If I'm going to open myself up, it's only going to be because I know I have to go out there and I'm leasing a car and I need to release my information, but only to one party, only for a limited amount of time. Then I block it again. So that's certainly something that you can do. Go on all three of the websites and stop your susceptibility to getting your information out there. If you block yourself, it means nobody's going to be able to open up an account in your name. And I just saw something last few days. I've been seeing a lot of commercials on the TV. Yeah, I do watch once in a while, as infrequently as I possibly can. But this poor person was saying how someone actually got into stole his identity, got his driver's license, put their picture on it, and think of what that can do. All of a sudden, you're investigating for criminal activity because someone compromised your driver's license or your medical information. You don't want that. You want to do whatever you possibly can to protect yourself. And the tips that we're sharing with you are things that we found out, hopefully not through our own painful experiences, but in speaking with people and colleagues around us that are relating to us, what's happened to them. You absolutely do not want something like that to happen to you.
And be careful with the content that you're posting, pictures and videos. If you're doing screen shares and screenshots, there was a story I saw of a woman who had a vacation planned for a cruise line, and it was 2 days before the trip, and she finds out her whole trip got canceled. She had posted on social media pictures of her tickets or her itinerary or something, and it had her booking number. And somebody thought to take her booking number and register for an account on that cruise line, and they had control and they canceled that person's trip.
Yeah, I mean, I just got something today from one of my colleagues, and he posted pictures of, I forget which country he said he was in, but I had someone post pictures of me on vacation. We met on a vacation, I think it was 2013. I said, please take it down. I don't want anyone knowing I'm 5,000 miles from home because my house is totally empty. And people always I understand the need to share with people, hey, I'm on this great trip and here's my family. We're all happy. We're going to see this famous site. But just remember, and I'm not saying that everybody out there is a criminal, but you only need one person to pick up that you're 5,000 miles from home. And then you have a problem because you come home to an empty house. Maybe they left you a dirty floor and a bottle of water.
Yeah, and
Used.
that's advice that we had before we even had the internet, is to not go telling everyone around town that you're going to be out of the country on specific dates, because who knows what they might do. Also, I lost my thought. Back to
So
you, Rich.
let me pick it up. So Meir was speaking about posting pictures. So I've been in a few organizations, actually one that Meir and I are still in together. And somebody was posting pictures of his grandchildren. Now, whether he got permission from his children to post pictures of their children, I didn't ask. But you don't necessarily want pictures of your children and grandchildren out there, with or without permission, because we have a lot of people in this world that are out to do harm. Now, you can probably take steps to, people want to hide their pictures on TV, and they do something with the cameras to fix that or hide it. I'm sure there's a way to do it. Better not post them. I don't post pictures at all anymore. I think I may have posted one. I was saying that people are so reactive when it comes to technology and cybersecurity. I put a picture of somebody burying their head in the sand like an ostrich. That was kind of a tongue-in-cheek thing to alert people that, you need to take this thing seriously. And that's what Meir and I look to impart to you on a every other week basis. We will not be live in 2 weeks because it is July 4th, although I might be having a couple of phone calls. I am taking the day off, and I'm assuming everybody out there wants to take the day off as well. So we'll be back again on July 11th, which is 3 weeks from today. We come up with topics that we think are should be of interest to our wider audience out there. But and I know that we can certainly speak to that, and we certainly have a message private chat platform here. If there's something that you would like us to speak about, please let us know. We're doing a lot of guesswork based on the things that we know in our daily lives. But if there's anything that you would like to learn more about, we have plenty of information to share with you. Meir, I'm going to have a few other things to speak about, but did we get any questions from the audience yet?
No, I don't see any questions
Okay.
today right now.
Right. What can you do if you learn or someone alerts you that you've been compromised on one of these social media platforms? Well, first thing you need to do is inform your network. You don't want people, you may be connected to as few as 5 people or as many as I have connections that have thousands of connections. You don't want them to get that information and they think it's you, but it's not really you. So you need to find a way to alert all those people. It doesn't have to be in one fell swoop, but you need to find a way to get it out there. It may not be a great idea to get it out on social media. It may be better just to send bulk emails to the extent that you're able to.
Because you might be locked out of your social media account and
Problem.
you can't put an alert on there.
And let's go over if there's activity that the platform deems that is not what we want to represent to our people in the network, they will take you off the platform. That's something you clearly don't want because you spent as little as a month to as many as 15, 20 years building up your reputation on that platform. So you need to not only inform your network, you need to report that to the platform as well, that, hey, it's come to my attention that somebody has compromised my identity.
That brings me to a different topic, not security wise, but when you get knocked off the platform and you lose access to all your followers, if you think about this from a business perspective, now you've lost your audience, which is why I always say it's important to have an email list, have a newsletter that your audience can subscribe to, so you own a way to communicate with them outside of any social network, because you don't know when you're going to get taken offline for some reason.
And I can tell you from my own experience, it happened to me. I was going crazy. It took me about 3 days. So for 3 business days, I couldn't post anything. And finally, I got lucky and figured out what the problem was and changed a couple of things in there. But it's probably okay if it happens to you on New Year's Eve and you're not posting then anyway, and New Year's Day you're not posting, but you don't want it to happen in the middle of something that's important. So, painful lesson that I learned.
And as always, it's also your job to educate your family and friends, because they don't always pay attention to these kinds of security things. So help them learn too.
Yeah, we find today that so many people are just totally unaware of what's going on out there. And although I don't condemn being trustworthy, it's not always the right thing to do. We always have the mantra: check first. If you don't check, you will get scammed. Whether it's social media, whether it's emails, whether it's texting, uh, anything out there, the criminals hide behind a platform. And Mayor and I are out public facing, but they don't. This is a very easy way today to cause havoc. It's not like going into a bank with guns ablazing. They hide behind, in their garage or wherever, behind a computer screen. Nobody sees them. And I've known enough people that have certainly had more than their share of issues. It's not so easy to recover from it. even if you have I mean, you can certainly get some identity theft policies out there in restoration. Those are very cost effective, not necessarily the ones that you hear about and read about and see all the time, because well, I'm not necessarily touting them or not touting them. What you're paying for with a lot of these platforms out there, they're in the public eye. You're paying for all the times they've been fined for deceptive advertising. You're paying for their high advertising, and you're paying for their executive salaries. So while I think the products are not are a good thing, not every platform is created equal.
That's true. And remember, you are in charge of the information that you put out there. Earlier, like Rich said, if you don't want pictures of your children out there, don't put them out there. Tell your friends and family not to post them. You might have heard of Gary Vaynerchuk, very famous person. They know him all over the world. And he says on his podcast a lot how he's controlling what he puts out there. You don't see anything about his family. I didn't even know he had kids for a long time because you don't see anything about it.
And those are things you certainly want to keep out of the public view. Well, you're a public figure, and that's one of the risks we all take in being a public figure. You don't want to necessarily expose your intimate family members to what you expose yourself to, because we're doing it for our own reasons. So be very careful with what you do, because once it's out there, it's not so easy to get on out there. If that's a word. You know, it's like tearing paper. You know, once it's torn and the wind takes it, it's not so easy to pick it up anymore. So it's like, you know, we're got to be very careful what you say. And there are probably topics that you should stay far away from in posting on social media, because we live in a very, very divisive country today. And there may be things that you don't want to start getting into fights about, because people tend to fight about the same topics today. So steer clear of things that are likely to be very controversial. Is there anything else that you'd like to add before we close this session? And
Just stay tuned. We have a YouTube channel. I'll post links. We appreciate your likes and comments and feedback.
yes, thanks for bringing that up, Mayor. You'll put that in here, or you'll mention it. You'll mention it. You put it in the chat, and also you can certainly put in the chat our contact information in there, because that would also be very helpful.
Yep, we'll get it on there.
Awesome. Well, everybody, thanks for attending, and we'll see you on July 11th. And in the meantime, you know, if you do make any comments, if there is something you'd like us to speak about in 3 weeks, let us know. We're happy to accommodate our audience.
All right, take care, everyone. Stay safe.